if you're hiring somebody without integrity, you really want them to be dumb and lazy, don't you? I mean, last thing in the world you want for them is to be smart and energetic.
Making your life better is a lot of work. Watching somebody else's train wreck of a life makes you feel instantly better, and you don't have to do any work to change.
If you struggle with integrity, you're gonna lose a lot of people.
Rise and shine!
It's Entspresso time!
Hey, it's Evan Carmichael, and I am not a morning person, but if you start your day with a morning routine that inspires you, like watching one of these videos, it will change your life. So let's start your day off right together. Grab your coffee, know that I believe in you, and get ready for a shot of Entspresso from Warren Buffett.
I wake up every morning.
Espresso keep me going.
I wake up every morning.
All of you in this room have the brains to do extremely well in life. You've all got the energy to do extremely well in life. And then the question is, how do you apply it? If you've got a 200 horsepower motor, do you get 200 horsepower out of it? Do you get your full potential, or do you get 100 horsepower or 50 horsepower? Now, there's two things that can hold you back in getting the full horsepower out of your engine, whatever it may be. All of you have big enough engines. And one of those is a lack of education, but that probably isn't going to happen to very many people in this room. If you did have a lack of education, if you didn't have a chance to get a decent education in life, it wouldn't make any difference what that potential was, because you'd never unlock it. But the second most important thing, and equally as important, is in terms of the habits that you develop, in terms of what you do with yourself. When we hire people, we look for three qualities. We look for integrity, we look for intelligence, and we look for energy. But if they don't have the first one, integrity, the other two will kill you. Because if you're hiring somebody without integrity, you really want them to be dumb and lazy, don't you? I mean, last thing in the world you want for them is to be smart and energetic. So smart and energetic only goes with integrity. You make your own decision on that. You can't change your IQ or how far you can throw a football or how high you can jump or the color of your hair very easily. But you can elect to have integrity that matches anybody else's. And if you match that with intelligence, which you have, and energy, which you have, you will get an extraordinary result, and you'd be very foolish to sell me 10% of yourself for $50,000. On the other hand, if you don't match it with that, your potential will, in a significant part, go unused.
I don't think there are bad people. I think there are people who are confused and people who are in a lot of pain. But I wouldn't want to brush a big stroke across some people and say, you're bad. These people are bad people. They're not. They're just in a lot of pain, or they're confused. They don't have the self-awareness. And what ends up happening, think about when you've been in a lot of pain. When you've been in a lot of pain, have you always made the best decisions? Think about the stupidest things that you've done in your life, where you've hurt people, where you've let people down. Chances are you were reacting because you were in a lot of pain. I've seen this over and over and over again when I go through the who, why, how exercise with people from Built to Serve. The first part is who, which is figure out your most important core value. What is your single most important core value? And as I go through this exercise, we've done this with tens of thousands of people, it's always something positive. It's love, it's freedom, it's inspire, it's believe, it's family, it's connection, it's care. It's always something positive, always. I've never, ever, ever seen somebody's who, their most important core value, be something negative. I've just never seen it. It's never been death or hate. It's just never, that's not how we're wired. Human beings are good people. I'm convinced of it. They just either don't know their operating system, they don't know their who, their single most important core value, or they're in a lot of pain. Now you have to decide, okay, what's your reaction gonna be? So as a starting point, it's good for you to know your who, right? And you can pick up Built to Serve and it'll help you through it. But just think about, what's your single most important core value? Just think about it right now. You know, what is your most important core? If you had to pick right now, don't worry about being perfect. If you had to pick your single most important core value, what is it? Mine is believe. What's yours? Just knowing that gives you so much more clarity. If we're talking about having integrity, integrity to what? It's integrity to your most important core value. And we fight over different versions of it, right? Integrity to me is gonna be different than integrity to Warren Buffett. It's gonna be different than integrity to you. It's integrity to your most important core value. My integrity is to believe. your integrity might be to freedom. And they're both positive, and they're both aspirational, and they both represent the best versions of us, right? My best evidence on the other side of more belief. Your best self is on the other side of more freedom, or whatever your most important core value is. But they're not the same. Belief to me is not the same as freedom to you. They're close, they're similar, they're aspirational, they're positive, they're optimistic, but they're not exactly the same. So that's where you get into disagreements over integrity, because there's no one set of rules over what integrity even is. It's you living a life that is in integrity with your most important core value. If you're not happy in your life right now, it's because you are living inconsistently with what your who is. If I'm not happy right now, it's because I'm living inconsistently with what believe means to me. It's that I know that this is my operating system. I know that this is who I want to be, how I want to be acting. Everything I do should be with the lens of belief. That's what I should be doing. And if I'm not happy in any area of my life, it's because there's a lack of belief. Belief to do the next thing. If your who is freedom and you're not happy in life right now, it's because there's a lack of freedom somewhere in your life. You feel like you're at a job where you have no freedom to be creative. You're in a relationship where you have no freedom to express yourself. Like there's a lack of freedom. And for you to live a life of integrity, it's to match what you want in terms of freedom with what's actually happening in your life and your daily habits. So that's why I think figuring out your who is one of the most important questions that you're ever going to do in your life, because that won't change. Because for me, belief is going to be with me for life. I'm going to be 120 years old, looking back and still trying to spread more belief. If anything, I'll just be more committed to it. As I get older and more confident and more wise and care less about other people's opinions, I'm only going to be more committed to it. And same thing for you whenever your who is. So you have to figure it out. And that's what integrity will ultimately come down to. You living in accordance to what your most important core value is. It becomes the filter for everything. So if I look at the videos I'm making, right? If I'm making videos on YouTube, I always want to spread a positive message. I always want to spread belief. I may not always hit it. It may not always be accomplished, but it's always the intent. The intent behind the content that I make, the conversations that I have in life, the relationships that I hold, the intent behind everything is to spread more belief. My channel, if I was only chasing growth, this is where people get confused, and when people fall out of integrity with themselves, forget about integrity with other people, people fall out of integrity with themselves because you're chasing something like views that are outside of your who you actually are. I could get more views if I made a video saying the top 10 reasons why Warren Buffett is a loser. People would watch that. People would much rather watch somebody get torn down than try to learn from them, because they're in a lot of pain. You want to look at somebody else's life and see how bad their life is to feel better about yourself instead of fixing your life, right? That's what most people will do. Why do we love all these trashy reality TV shows? Because you'd rather look at somebody else's more painful life than yours instead of trying to fix your life. How do you feel better about yourself? Look at somebody who's worse off instead of actually making your life better. Because making your life better is a lot of work. Watching somebody else's train wreck of a life makes you feel instantly better, and you don't have to do any work to change. So if I made a video talking about how Warren Buffett is a loser and how, you know, I'll find some clips or somebody's opinion or story about how he ripped people off to help justify most people's views that rich people are selfish and rip people off and are unethical, right? That video would blow up. It just would, but I don't want to make that video. Why? Because it's anti-belief. And it doesn't mean that I need to hero worship everybody they put on the channel, but I want to learn something from them. I want to spread belief, and we can learn that from Warren Buffett, we can learn that from Carmichael, we can learn that from all the people that I end up profiling on the channel, because I've learned something from them. So when you figure out your who, it gives you that lens, it gives you that clarity to make all your future decisions. The content that you make, the products and services that you create, the person that you marry, the people that you surround yourself with in your life, the team that you end up hiring to your company, they need to help spread your who. They need to help remind you of who you are and feel similarly. If you're ever in a fight with somebody, it's chances are just a misalignment of values. It's not that they're right or you're wrong. It's just a misalignment of values and understanding what their who is and then starting to speak their language. For example, somebody who values structure and somebody who values creativity would get into a lot of fights. Because one person wants everything to be structured and organized and clean and neat and systemized, and that's a great, COO of a company. And somebody values creativity, hates structure. Like, creativity barely doesn't live inside structure. Creativity is suffocated by structure. Creativity is messy. It's messy. You don't know how it's going to work out. You don't know where it's going to go. And so those two people would fight a lot because they don't know how the other person is wired. And so figuring out your who is great for you, for your life, for your operating system, for the people that you want to surround yourself with, for the projects that are happening in your life, and for you to live a life of integrity because you know now what that means. You've been able to define it more clearly through your who, but it also gives you a path to be able to deal with other people. And instead of just assuming that they're wrong, or instead of just saying that they are not doing it correctly, or instead of just telling them that they have no integrity, understand that maybe they're just in a lot of pain, right? They're a good person, just in a lot of pain and they're lashing out. Or two, maybe they're running off a different operating system. Maybe you just spent 5 minutes understanding what their who was, how they're wired, what their compass is guiding them towards. It'll help you actually communicate better instead of getting into so many fights. Now I've got a special bonus clip that I think you're gonna enjoy. But before that, it's time for the question of the day. I wanna know, what was your single biggest takeaway from this video and your plan of action for the next week? When you just watch a video and you get motivated, the science says you have a 35% chance of following through. But when you get motivated and create a plan of action, you bump it from 35% to 91% chance of following through. And when you share it with other people, like in this community in the comments below, it jumps to 95%. I want you to follow through. So question of the day, what was your single biggest takeaway from this video? And what is your plan of action for the next week? Let me know. Put it down in the comments below so I can celebrate you. Also, if you want to have more self-belief and self-confidence, I've created a special free training where every day for the next 254 days, I will send you an unlisted video that will inspire you. The science says it takes up to 254 days of consecutive action to build a habit. So if you want to join in, get more self-belief and self-confidence for free every day, there's a link to join in the description below. I'll see you there.
If I ever write a book, it's going to be called Why Smart People Do Dumb Things. But if you ask me to write a story on what is Potomac Electric Power worth or something like that, I can write the story. And that's what I'm doing every day. I'm assigning myself a story, and then I go out. If I give them a whole bunch of money and they love the money and they don't love the business, no matter what they tell me, 6 months from now, they'll be gone.
I know a lot of times people say, well, that person's a little bit, it's interesting how he is. I don't know. He kind of will go to the gray area, or he'll go to this area, he'll go to that area. Fine. Other people want to say that, no problem. People who stay with a founder for long enough of a time, they know that person may be crazy, but there's certain things they're not going to cross. If you cross the line there, how would you keep the best talent? How would you keep the best smart people around you? You're just not going to do it. If you struggle with integrity, you're going to lose a lot of people. That is a quality so necessary. I think Warren Buffett said there's 3 things he likes, right? Energy, integrity, and competency. I think those were the 3 things he says. Without integrity, forget the other 2, right? I want to say those are the 3 things that he had. The point is, to build a big business, you need people around you to trust you just as much as you trust them. That requires integrity.
If you want another awesome Warren Buffett video, check it out right there next to me. I think you'll enjoy it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.
By far the best investment you can make is in yourself.
Every day you have to learn a little bit more, improve a little bit more, build a little bit more self-confidence, self-belief, self-love every single day.